Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a great day. I am. I just finished seeing Star Wars Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. And this is the second time I'll be talking about this movie today so far. I have a friend of mine that I talked about it with earlier. It's a good movie. I watched it and I remembered enjoying it as a kid. As a kid, I always called it Star Wars Episode V because the movies are referred to as Roman numerals. So the 5 Roman numeral looks very much like a V. So growing up, I always called it Star Wars Episode V. I thought it was funny. This movie is good. I like Lando. His character, he's a very interesting character. You don't learn much about his backstory. You don't learn much more about Han's backstory. You don't learn anything about Leia's real backstory. You don't learn too terribly much about Vader's history. Spoiler alerts for this entire movie. I should have said that at the very beginning. Spoiler alert. You learn that Vader is Luke's father. You learn that uh, Lando lost the Millennium Falcon to Han in a bet. At least it's strongly hinted to in a couple of scenes. You get a bit more 3PO and R2 banter back and forth. Um, Luke in the Battle of Hoth, that is a very good scene. Vader knows that there's a boy named Luke that was responsible for destroying the Death Star. So he wants to find Luke and the rebellion and make them pay, to the point of where he's going down to Hoth himself to find this guy. And it is very good in every sense. I like this movie a lot. This is the first movie that Darth Vader had his own theme. In episode 4, he doesn't, but Vader became such a popular character that in this movie, the Imperial March, he gets his own theme. And this movie had a lot of its own themes, which was very nice. And it felt good to hear them again. Again, this was a Star Wars movie that I hadn't seen for quite a while, and it's been very good for me to see them all in a row. And this movie, I guess the things I liked how Han and Leia tell each other, in a way, that they love each other. She says, I love you. He responds, I know. Harrison Ford decided to change that script line, and he's famous for doing that. This is a very good movie in its filmmaking. You can still tell that a lot of it was done with miniatures, not green screen, which is very nice. And George Lucas did not direct this movie. A man named Irvin Kershner did. And I'm not even sure why. I looked into it a little bit, and there isn't really a definitive answer. Maybe something I missed, but maybe George Lucas just didn't want to direct this one, and Star Wars was getting big at the time, so maybe he offered it to a friend, and I don't know. Point is, George Lucas didn't direct this one. And some people say, well, shows because it's a good movie. I think I made it clear that I liked A New Hope. I liked it. There were a couple things I didn't feel needed to be there, but overall I enjoyed it, and it had a very significant impact on me as a kid and in my growing up life. I enjoy it. This movie, I enjoy it, but for different reasons. Just like I like Raiders of the Lost Ark, the first Indiana Jones, and Temple of Doom, the second one. I like both those movies. Raiders is the more upbeat, happy one, mostly, and Temple of Doom is the one that's a lot darker. This movie, you feel is a lot darker. You don't really feel a lot of the good side in this movie. There's even a scene where Han Solo is tortured, kind of. Vader's trying to get answers out of him, but Han afterwards says they didn't even ask me any questions. It's never said why Vader did that. He wasn't testing that machine for Luke Skywalker because Luke was tried to be put into carbon free. So it's never explained why Han is put on that torture table the thing that has like these energy bolts, I think, that would shoot and cause him pain. It's never explained. I would have liked if that was elaborated on, even a line from Vader to say, we're doing this because of this. The fact that the Empire would just torture Han for no reason, it's not a thing I like about the movie. There's also a scene where 3PO wanders off and goes into this room full of droids, I think. We're not really shown, but he ends up being blown into many different pieces. But then a few minutes later, well, more than a few minutes, but he ends up basically being a backpack for Chewbacca. He's just held on his back, and I don't know why that was put in the movie, maybe for comedic relief, but when 3PO's blown into pieces, it's not funny. So I don't know why they did that, but that's another thing I didn't really like. Um, I didn't like how in the bounty hunter scene, when Vader is talking to all the bounty hunters, saying he wants the Millennium Falcon, any means necessary, and then he turns to Boba Fett and says no disintegrations. He knows about Boba Fett's reputation, which is nice, but what about all the other guys? There were other bounty hunters there, and you don't learn their names, really, unless I missed something, but you don't hear their names, you never see them again, but I'm sure they made great action figures. Maybe that's why they were created. But this movie is good. I don't want to make it seem like I don't like it. I like it a lot. If I had to pick a favorite of the original Star Wars trilogy, this would probably be it. I like Ian McDiarmid's hologram appearance as the Emperor. I like the chase through the asteroid field. I like the Battle of Hoth. I like Luke's training sequence on Dagobah because a Force Ghost appears to Luke on the Battle of Hoth when he's near death, we can assume, and says, "You will go to the Dagobah system, and there you will meet Yoda, the Jedi Master who instructed me." Which confuses me because in the prequels, Qui-Gon is the one that trains Obi-Wan. Yoda doesn't seem to train Obi-Wan all that much, if at all. So that line was a bit confusing. But he goes to Dagobah. I would appreciate it if more time was spent on that planet. Yoda, first, when he shows up to Luke, he's trying to annoy him. He's trying to test him out, get a feel for his character. And we figure out quite quickly Luke hasn't changed much since A New Hope. He's still the impatient guy that hasn't learned very much, wants everything right now, wants everything a certain way. And that's a bit disappointing. He's different in Return of the Jedi. I'll get to that movie in my next review. But he doesn't change much in this movie, and that's one of my gripes with it. One of my complaints is that the characters don't really grow much in this movie, and that's okay. And it's a good movie. It gets an 8 out of 10 from me. It gets the same rating as A New Hope. I like it very much, but in a sequel, you want to see characters grow. You want to see things that are different. You want to see things that make you smile. And for me, this movie makes me smile. It really does. And if you watch this movie, I mean, I enjoy the whole dynamic of Luke being Vader's son, Vader finding that out, Vader trying to get Luke to come to the dark side, and Luke pretty much letting go of the precipice of the thing that he's holding on to. He doesn't know he's going to survive that fall. He's letting go. He's basically committing suicide. He doesn't want to live through this. And to me, that makes Luke a very, I don't want to say poor character, but I mean, his other option was either take Vader's hand or die or let go. I don't know if he made the right choice, but he didn't want to accept that Vader was his father. And to me, that's okay. Their lightsaber duel is very cool. This lightsaber duel in this movie is much more involving than the one in A New Hope. But lightsabers were very new for A New Hope, obviously, so they didn't really know how to work them or how to use them, that kind of thing. But I like this movie. It's good. It gets an 8 out of 10 from me. See it. It's good. My review of Return of the Jedi will be coming very soon. And thank you for joining me. Come back for more new videos very soon. And you have a great day. Take care.